Good morning students. Welcome to today's online class. In previous video we covered a dipole moment of revolving electron. Next we covered Bohr's magnetron is there. Bohr's magnetron means dipole moment of revolving electron in its ground state or first orbit. And its value is 9.27 into 10 power minus 24 ampere meter square is there. So that is about dipole moment of revolving electron. After completion of dipole moment of revolving electron, we covered a conversion of galvanometer into ammeter is there. Before converting it is called as galvanometer, after converting it is called as ammeter is there. Galvanometer is a sensitive device used to measure very small current in order of microamperes is there. And ammeter is a device used to measure very large current in order of milliamperes or amperes is there. By connecting a small resistance parallel to galvanometer, then galvanometer converted into ammeter is there. And resistance of ideal ammeter is always 0. So that is about the previous covered concepts. In present video, the continuation, very linked important concept means a conversion of galvanometer into voltmeter is there. So conversion of galvanometer into voltmeter. Before converting it is called as galvanometer. After converting it is called as ammeter. We know with the help of galvanometer we can measure very small currents in order of microamperes. After converting it becomes voltmeter. With the help of voltmeter we can measure potential difference between 2 points. So, before converting it is called as galvanometer, it measures very small currents. After converting it is called as voltmeter. With the help of voltmeter, we can measure potential difference between 2 points. So, that is about the difference between galvanometer and voltmeter. Now, present concept is how to convert galvanometer into voltmeter. So, for this purpose, assume it is galvanometer. It is a symbol of galvanometer and resistance of galvanometer is Z. Then high resistance connected in series with galvanometer. So G is resistance of galvanometer and R is high resistance. When high resistance connected in series with galvanometer, then galvanometer converted into voltmeter. Only this one is galvanometer. The combination of galvanometer and high resistance in series, that is called as voltmeter. The dotted portion is called as a voltmeter. With the help of voltmeter, we can measure potential difference between 2 points. For example, A is first point, B is the second point. With the help of voltmeter, we can measure potential difference between 2 points. And assume potential difference between 2 points A and B is named as VAB. And it is also taken as V. So we want to find out what is the potential difference between points A and B. Parallel to these 2 points, voltmeter is always connected parallel to these points. We know voltmeter is always connected parallel to the circuit. In case of parallel combination, potential is always same. Potential across these 2 points and potential across galvanometer is remains same. We don't know potential difference is here, but we know potential difference is here. So this potential difference becomes this potential difference. So that's why voltmeter is always connected parallel to circuit. So for this purpose, assume I current coming from the circuit reaches to this point. At this point, total current divides into 2 parts. A small part of current is passing through galvanometer because galvanometer is a sensitive device. Through the galvanometer, only small current IC is passing. The rest of current, the remaining current I minus IC, is passing through these 2 points. So that is about the diagram of voltmeter. So totally how to convert galvanometer to voltmeter? By connecting So definition observable. by connecting high resistance. So by connecting high resistance in series with the galvanometer, in series with a galvanometer, then galvanometer connected into voltmeter. And second point, voltmeter is always connected parallel to circuit. Ammeter is always connected series with the circuit, and voltmeter is always connected parallel to circuit. Because we know in parallel combination, potential difference is always same. So this part and this part always parallel to each other. Because in parallel combination, potential difference is same. The potential difference between A and B is always equal to potential difference across galvanometer. Assume potential difference between A and B is nothing but V. Then what about potential difference across galvanometer? According to Ohm's law, potential difference means product of current into total resistance. But across galvanometer, current is IC. The G value, R value join in series. In series combination, total resistance is always G plus R, R1 plus R2. So potential difference between A and B, V is nothing but IC into Z plus R. Here IC is current passed through galvanometer. For this current, galvanometer shows full scale of deflection. And G is resistance of galvanometer and R is high resistance connected in series with galvanometers. Or simplified, V by IC is equal to Z plus R. But to convert galvanometer and ammeter, the required value of series resistance R is equal to V by IC minus G. So to convert galvanometer to voltmeter, the required high resistance in series, this value should be in series with galvanometer. Formula R is equal to V by IC. V means range of voltmeter. IC means current passed through galvanometer. And G is resistance of galvanometer. So that is about conversion of galvanometer to voltmeter. By connecting high resistance in series with galvanometer, then galvanometer converted to voltmeter. The required series resistance is nothing but this one. Next, to increase range of voltmeter by n times. To increase range of voltmeter by n times, the required series resistance is nothing but Z into n minus 1. Here n means to increase range of voltmeter by n times sensitivity of voltmeter. Sensitivity means n is equal to here V2 by V1. V2 means new range of voltmeter, V1 means initial range of voltmeter. We are increasing range of voltmeter from V1 to V2. Then required series resistance is nothing but R is equal to Z into n minus 1. N means voltage sensitivity V2 by V1. V2 means final range of voltmeter, V1 means initial range of voltmeter. By applying these two values, you can find n value. So that is about conversion of galvanometer into voltmeter. Next, for voltmeter, what is resistance of ideal voltmeter? So resistance of ideal voltmeter, because the resistance of voltmeter is always high, because high resistance connected in series. In series combination, effective resistance is increased. So resistance of ideal voltmeter is always infinity. The limit of high resistance is infinity. The limit of low resistance is 0. Resistance of ideal ammeter is 0 and resistance of ideal voltmeter is infinity. So that is about a conversion of galvanometer into voltmeter. Next, after conversion of galvanometer into ammeter and voltmeter. Next, comparison between are differences between ammeter and voltmeter. So left side ammeter, right side voltmeter. But what are the differences between ammeter and voltmeter? First one we know. Ammeter is a device used to measure the strength of current. So with the help of ammeter we can measure strength of current, or ammeter is a device used to measure strength of current. Next, voltmeter is a device used to measure potential difference between 2 points. So using voltmeter we measure potential difference, using ammeter we measure strength of current. Next, second point is how to convert galvanometer into ammeter. By connecting a small resistance parallel to galvanometer. A small resistance connected parallel to galvanometer, then galvanometer converted into ammeter. Next, how to convert galvanometer to voltmeter? By connecting a high resistance in series with galvanometer. So by connecting a high resistance in series with galvanometer, then galvanometer converted into voltmeter. Next, third point, the resistance of ideal ammeter or for ideal ammeter, resistance is always 0. Resistance of ideal ammeter is always 0 because ammeter having low resistance limit means 0. Next, resistance of ideal voltmeter. Voltmeter is always having high resistance. The limit of high resistance means always infinity. So resistance of ideal ammeter is 0 and resistance of ideal voltmeter is infinity. Next, ammeter is always connected in series with the circuit. Because in series combination same current is passing, that's why ammeter is always connected in series with the circuit. And voltmeter is always connected parallel to circuit. Because in parallel combination same potential is developed, that's why voltmeter is always connected parallel to circuits and ammeter is always connected in series with the circuits. To increase range of ammeter by n times, the required shunt resistance or small resistance is equal to Z by n minus 1. To increase range of ammeter by n times, the required shunt resistance S is equal to small resistance or shunt resistance Z by n minus 1. To increase range of voltmeter by n times, the required value of series high resistance is nothing but Z into n minus 1. So these all are the differences between ammeter and voltmeter. So it is also important question for a 2 marks or a 3 marks system. Next, after completion of galvanometer and ammeter and voltmeter, next important last concepts means shunt or shunt resistance system. We are already explained. Galvanometer is a sensitive device. When high current is passed through galvanometer will be damaged. So to protect galvanometer from high currents, a small resistance connected parallel to galvanometer or high resistance is joined with a series of galvanometers. So in this way we can protect galvanometer from high current system. So totally so that is about the importance of shunt or shunt resistance system. So for the protection of galvanometer from high currents, a small resistance connected parallel to galvanometer. That process is called a shunt. That small resistance is connected parallel to galvanometer is called a shunt resistance system. mainly with the help of shunt or shunt resistance. Two uses are there. We can protect galvanometer from high currents, and we can increase the sensitivity of galvanometers. Before connecting small resistance parallel, it measures very small current. After connecting small resistance in parallel, it measures very large current. Because shunted galvanometer is also called as ammeter. Galvanometer measures small current and ammeter measures large current. So in the process of shunting, the sensitivity of galvanometer will be increased. The range of currents measured by the galvanometer will be increased. So that is about shunt resistance and uses of a shunt or shunt resistance. Totally, a shunt means assume it is galvanometer. The resistance of galvanometer is capital Z. A small resistance connected parallel to galvanometer to protect galvanometer from high current system. So the method of protecting galvanometer from high currents is called shunt. The small resistance connected parallel to galvanometer to protect galvanometer from high currents, that is called shunt resistance system. Here two types of resistances we are observing. G means resistance of galvanometer, S means resistance of shunt system. Assume I current coming from the circuit reaches this point. The total current I divides into two parts. A small portion of current is passing the galvanometer IC. The remaining portion of current is passing the shunt resistance IS system. So here three types of currents we are observing. I means total current or current coming from the circuit. IC means current passing the galvanometer. IS means current passing the shunt resistance system. So according to diagram, the total current I divides into two parts. One part of current is IC, another part of current is IS. It is a relation between all the three current systems. And according to diagram, the resistances G and S are in parallel. So according to diagram, resistance of G and resistance of S, galvanometer resistance and shunt resistance both are in parallel. We know in parallel combination effective resistance 1 by R is equal to 1 by R1, 1 by Z plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by S. Or 1 by R is equal to LCM is ES, S plus Z. So it is the value of 1 by R. But you have to find the effective resistance R or a total resistance R. 1 by R is this one. R means reverse. Is nothing but GS by G plus S. And two resistors are joined in parallel. Effective resistance is R1, R2 by R1 plus R2. G into S by G plus S. So assume it is equation 2. And according to diagram, G value and S value are in parallel. Resistance of galvanometer and resistance of shunt both are in parallel. We know in series combination same current is passing, but in parallel combination potential is same. And two resistors are joined in parallel, effective. When two resistors are joined in parallel, the potential difference across two elements is same. Two resistors are same. That means potential difference across galvanometer and potential difference across shunt resistance, and that is equal to applied potential. So parallel combination potential is same. Potential across galvanometer and potential across shunt resistance and applied potential should be same. But according to Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. I means total current, R means total resistance. By using same formula, product of current into resistance is called as potential difference. By using this formula, what is the potential difference across shunt resistance product of current IS into resistance S? So Vs means Is into S. Next, Vc means potential difference across galvanometer. It is also equal to product of current into resistance. Here current value is Iz and resistance value Z. So in parallel combination, the applied potential IR and potential difference across galvanometer and potential difference across shunt resistance, all potentials are equal. So assume it is equation 3. So using all the above condition, you have to find what is the value of IZ and what is the value of IS. The value of IZ means current passed through galvanometer. Value of IS means current passed through shunt resistance is there. So if A is equal to B is equal to C, then A is equal to B is correct, and A is equal to C is also correct, and B is equal to C is also correct. So from the above condition, equate first term and last term. So from the above equation, IZ into Z is equal to I into R, or IZ into Z is equal to I into R means effective resistance in parallel combination, G S by G plus S. Both sides G is cancelled. Then expression for galvanometer current IZ is equal to I into S by G plus S. So it is the expression for current passed through galvanometer. Assume it is equation A. Next, also find the current passed through shunt resistance IS. So for this purpose, equate second term and third term. Second term means IS into S. Third term means IR. So IS into S is equal to I into R means we know Z into S by G plus S. Both sides S is cancelled. So expression for current passed through shunt resistance IS is equal to I into Z by Z plus S. It is equation B. Observe for both formulas, IZ and IS formula. IZ means current passed through galvanometer, I into S by G plus S. For galvanometer current IZ, here shunt resistance S is appeared. Here G means here S. And expression for current passed through shunt resistance for IS, here galvanometer resistance will be appeared, I into Z by I plus S. So for galvanometer current means I into opposite resistance by G plus S. For shunt current means I into opposite resistance Z by Z plus S. So that is about current passed through galvanometer and current passed through shunt resistance. So that is about importance of a shunt and a shunt resistance. Next, from the conclusions, find the ratio of the galvanometer current and shunt current and total current. What is the ratio between currents? Galvanometer current, shunt current and total current. Galvanometer current means we know IZ means I into S by G plus S. A shunt current means just derived I into G by G plus S. And I means total current. In all the terms, the total current I is cancelled. So here S by G plus S is to Z by Z plus S is to 1. So finally, the ratio of galvanometer current to a shunt current to total current is equal to S by G plus S is to G by G plus S is to 1. Or for simplification purpose, the total term is multiplying with G plus S. All three terms are multiplying with G plus S. Here S into G plus S by G plus S cancel. Here G into G plus S by G plus S cancel. Here G plus S. So ratio of galvanometer current to the shunt current to the total current. Because current ratio and resistance ratio is inversely proportional. For galvanometer current place means shunt resistance. For a shunt current place, a resistance of galvanometer. So that is about ratio of a galvanometer current to the shunt current to the total current. So that is about shunt and shunt resistance. Next, one more small definition means gyromagnetic ratio. Actually, it is related to dipole moment of revolving electron. In previous video, we derived expression for a dipole moment of revolving electron. So, dipole moment of revolving electron. The symbol of dipole moment means Mr mu is equal to EL by 2m. So it is the expression for dipole moment of revolving electron in terms of angular momentum is that. But what is meant by gyromagnetic ratio? It is the ratio of dipole moment of revolving electron to angular momentum. So gyromagnetic ratio. So this ratio can be defined as it is the ratio of dipole moment of revolving electron to angular momentum. Mu by L is equal to how much? If mu L is comes left side, mu by L is equal to E by m. It is the gyromagnetic ratio of a revolving electron is there. For electron means electron charges. Next, what about gyromagnetic ratio of other charge? For electron means E by 2m. The gyromagnetic ratio of other charge mu by L is equal to. For other charge means its charge is Q. Q by 2m. It is a gyromagnetic ratio for any charge or other charge. The Q means charge of given particle. M means mass of given particle. So that is about gyromagnetic ratio. The ratio of dipole moment of revolving electron to angular momentum. It is the expression for dipole moment of revolving electron to the next. It is the expression for dipole moment of any other revolving charges. So that kind of ratio is called as a gyromagnetic ratio. Next important small definition is pitch of helix. Pitch of helix is mainly based on force acting on moving charges. We know force acting on moving charge. F is equal to BQV sin theta. That means force acting on a moving charge is mainly depends on strength of magnetic field, strength of the charge, and speed of the charged particle and sign angle. If theta value changes, the force acting on the moving charge is also changes. For example, if theta is equal to 0, so theta is equal to 0 means if the charge moving parallel to field direction, Q charge is moving parallel to field direction. Parallel to field direction means theta value is 0. Theta value 0 means sin 0 value 0. So no force is acting. So any charge moving parallel to field direction, that moving charge, no force is acting. If no force is acting, the particle follows continuous straight line path. Next, if the charge moving perpendicular to magnetic field, theta value 90. So any charge moving perpendicular to magnetic field, Q charge is moving perpendicular to magnetic field. Perpendicular to magnetic field means theta value 90. Theta value 90 means sin 90 value 1. Sin value 1 means maximum force is acting. So F max. So any charge moving perpendicular to magnetic field, on the charge maximum force is acting. Under the influence of maximum force, a particle follows circular path of radius also. So any charge moving perpendicular to magnetic field, the charge experiences the maximum magnetic force and follows the circular path. the required centripetal force is balanced on maximum magnetic forces. So these two cases were already observed. A theta value 0 means straight line path, theta value 90 means circular path is there. Now pitch of helix is related to a theta value other than 0 and 90. So if theta value lies between 0 and 90, so if theta value is other than 0 and 90, 0 means straight line path, linear path, 90 means circular path. So if theta value other than 0 and 90, then the particle follows linear circular path, that means variable circular path. So variable circular path means this one. So this path is called as a helical path. So theta value other than 0 and 90, this path is called as helical path, and it is also called as spiral path, and it is also called as a spring path. So theta value 0 means straight line path, theta value 90 means continuous circular path, the constant circular path. If theta value 0 lies between 0 and 90, other than 0 and 90, then the particle follows helical path, variable circular path. In one complete rotation, it is moving from, charged particle is moving from this point to this point. But pitch of helix can be defined as it is the linear displacement traveled by the particle in one complete rotation. In one complete rotation, charged particle is moving from this path to this path. The angular displacement means 2 pi r, circumference. Theta value. But here pitch of helix is related to linear circular path. That means a linear displacement traveled by the charged particle in one complete time period. So this point, linear displacement is called as this one. A linear displacement means a horizontal displacement. We know velocity is of two components. Horizontal velocity means v cos theta. The time for one complete rotation means t. So pitch of helix x is equal to v cos theta into a t means time period of a circular path or time period of rotation of charged particle. A time period means 2 pi m by dq. 2 pi m by dq. Or pitch of helix x is equal to 2 pi m by dq into v cos theta. So that is called as pitch of helix. Definition: linear displacement traveled by the charged particle in one complete rotation. In one time period, charged particle is moving from this point to this point, or this point to this point, or this point to this point. In one time period, it travels some linear displacement, variable circular path. So linear displacement charged particle in one complete rotation is called as pitch of helix. So it is always related, theta value should be other than 0 and 90. And expression for pitch of helix means x is equal to 2 pi m by bq into v cos theta. Here m means mass of charged particle, b means strength of magnetic field, q means magnitude of the charge, and theta means angle. So that is about last concept but not least concept, nothing but pitch of helix.